It is a night of tough matchups galore for the higher salaried pitchers for today in MLB DFS. A lot of times that can push us towards using a lower salary guy, avoiding the tough matchups, taking the savings, and going nuts with our hitters. But I don't think that's really the way to play things for today, because when I look at the lower salary guys, I'm not seeing a whole lot of upside. So I think that our strategy for today is to suck it up, lock in the tough matchups, and hope for the best. Let's dive on in and let you know who fits that approach. Welcome on into the FanDuel Live Q&A. That's right here on the FanDuel YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter pages. My name is Jim Sanas. I am a senior writer and analyst for numberFire.com, here to take your questions live on air for the next 25 minutes to get you set for Wednesday's slate of MLB DFS. Before we dive in, though, quick scheduling reminder for tomorrow. We'll be live from 4 to 5 p.m. We've got our NFL Thursday night preview for the Bucs and the Cowboys. That is at 4 to 4:30. After 4:30, we'll have MLB. So if you're here for MLB each and every day, do not worry. We'll still be here tomorrow. So at 4:30 as opposed to 4, we'll be talking single game DFS, betting, props, et cetera for tomorrow. That's at 4, MLB at 4:30. Same thing for Friday. We have our snake draft with myself, JJ Zachariason, and Brandon Gadula. That will be at 4 p.m. We'll also take some questions on the NFL main slate. That'll be from 4 to 4:30. MLB will follow at 4:30 until 5 o'clock. So just make sure you subscribe to the FanDuel YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter pages and swing on by tomorrow at 4 and 4:30, and on Friday at 4 and 4:30 as well to get all of your questions in. Let's start off the questions with John over on YouTube asking, how would you stack the Reds tonight? The Reds, to me, are a decent option because they're facing Alec Mills. And Mills is a pitcher who has generally done a good job of keeping batters on the ground. However, recently that has been less true. He has been using fewer sinkers, and I know you know my feelings on sinkers. I'm not a fan. They're generally bad pitches, but for Mills, I probably would have kept it in there. He's never going to be a super high strikeout guy, so you want to lean into your strength and keep balls on the ground. He has not done that. Over his past 8 starts with fewer sinkers, 14% strikeout rate, 41% hard hit rate, and a 33% fly ball rate. That's a situation where he can use batters facing him. However, I want to skew pretty heavily towards the lefties because Mills can still get a good number of ground balls versus righties. So when I look at this lineup here for the Reds for today, I think that the standouts are Naquin and Votto. I think those are the first 2 guys you'll lock in, John. Mike Moustakas, since he came back from the IL, hasn't looked great, I would say. So let's go over here and check out Moose. I checked a couple days ago. Let's see if he's been hitting the ball around the yard the past couple of days. No extra base hits there. Yeah, it's still been pretty muted. But I still think that given the salary savings at $2,300, I probably do want to get there, so we'll go with Moustakas. Let's put, whoopsies, and let's put Votto in there, and let's put Naquin in there. And let's go over here to the pitching tab and put Nathan Eovaldi in. We should have a lot of flexibility with this build. So 33-20 left, then I'd probably just go Castellanos, assuming that he's in there. I know he's a righty, but I still think that I would give him the edge over Barnhart, over Schrock, the Schrock star back in our collective conscience. Carson Sestilli over on Fangraphs. Did you like this like fringe 5 with like these super under the radar prospects? And I know Max Schrock was like one of them for like 16 straight weeks. So he calls him the Schrock star. I'm going to keep that going because why not? It's a great nickname. Schrock star probably not going to be a super high priority DFS play, but I think that we can get Castellanos in there for his salary pretty easily. Let's do that here. And if we do Castellanos, we've got $3,200 left. Sick. So I think we're good to go. That's how I'd stack the Reds for you, John. Savon, how would you stack Toronto for tonight? Okay, let's go over here. Blue Jays facing Luis Gil. Probably wouldn't, I guess. In the 3 starts that Gil made, 28% strikeout rate. Did let up a lot of fly balls, so that could be potentially a good thing for the Blue Jays. But yeah, whoopsies. That's not Luis Gil. Let's go back over here. Garrett Cole injury last night was not fun, given that my better lineups for the most part seem to have Cole for whatever reason. It's because I had DJ Stewart and Austin Hayes in a lot of those, and they went yard. But Gil, in the 3 starts, performed pretty well. He was also, I mean, from a peripherals perspective, pretty good in AAA. He's probably not going to let up a lot of base runners, a lot of balls in play, I should say. So I'm not super high on Toronto, but it's the usual guys you would turn to there if you do decide to stack Toronto. Just keep in mind, Gil's probably not going to let up a lot of balls in play. John Hood phone over on over on Twitch. Ticket Bandit is here representing the land. So we got some Cleveland fans in the house. I don't think Cleveland's on this main slate, unfortunately, but I think they're playing the Twins today. Is that an early game? Probably starting early due to school being back up, if I had to guess. 6:10. We got Byron Buxton there. McKenzie's pitched well, but, let's go Byron Buxton as always. Salvador, Mitch White or nah? I would worry about pitch count for White. White is probably going to go about 70 or so pitches. The numbers that he's had in his 6 longer outings have been pretty good. Let's check out the game log here for White and see if that 70 pitch count is realistic. Because if it's 70, I'm very okay totally glossing over him and pretending he is not available. But maybe I'll be wrong. He went 72 last time out. That was a start. 91 the time before that. Yeah, I think we're probably looking 75 pitches, Salvatore. Not enough for me, so I'll be passing over Mitch White for today. Derek is asking, what's the highest implied game of the late slate? Let's see here. So I'm assuming that's like just that 2-game slate. If we're talking the main slate, let's pull up the heat map here over at numberFire and see what we're cooking with there. I could just check. Let's just do this here. Let's answer Derek's question for real. Late. After hours. There we go. So the after hours slate is just a 2-game slate, and the highest implied total on that 2-game slate belongs to San Diego. I'd probably go Oakland over them personally if you were playing that late slate there, Derek. I'd probably rank Oakland higher from a stacking perspective above San Diego, but San Diego definitely number 2. For the full slate, the Atlanta Braves with the highest total. No objections there. I think that is fully correct. Like the Royals for sure. As far as other teams, the Rays total is really high. I don't think it should be, but that's okay. We can always disagree. Totally fine. And I think the A's as well here and the Reds are teams I think that have lower implied totals than they potentially should have. Savon asking for if there are any under the radar stacks for today. I would guess that the Oakland game probably goes a bit overlooked because it's not a good park. It's a lower total, et cetera, et cetera. So I'd say Oakland, pretty good under the radar stack that I like overall before even considering that. Savon, I'm going to the Yankees game tonight. I want to bet on the teams tonight, most likely the Yankees, but I can't avoid the Toronto hot streak. Thoughts? So if you're looking to bet this game, let's see here. We've got Manoa facing off with Gil. Give me under 10 runs for that game, Savon. I think that's probably the way I'd want to play things for that one. I respect Manoa. I respect Gil. Good offenses, but like the under 10 for that one. So you're running against runs, which seems not fun, but you get out of there quicker, which is better. Jeremiah, where do you rank Darvish for tonight? Good question, Jeremiah, because I think he's a pretty tough one to rank. I have him 3rd personally because there aren't a lot of other guys I want to use. I would love to not consider you Darvish tonight, given how rough things have been for him recently. It's been bad. But like if you look at other relevant guys who get strikeouts in this slate, Freddie Peralta's not fully stretched out. Mitch White's probably not going to go deep in the game. I like Montas a lot. He's number 2. I like Eovaldi. He's number 1. McClanahan facing a low strikeout team that he's seen recently, gives up a lot of hard contact. I think that it really does have to be Darvish number 3 facing the Angels. And he would get boosted. I wouldn't put him above Montas, but I feel like he'd be in the same tier as Montas if Shohei Ohtani can't or doesn't play again today. He might, considering he sat out last night. So I'm not expecting necessarily that Ohtani sits, but he might. And if that does happen, I would say Montas is still 2, but Darvish is in that same tier with him. Right now, I think it's Eovaldi 1, Montas 2, and then Darvish 3, but I would bump Darvish up a bit if Ohtani is not in the starting lineup. Salvatore, Meadows, and Lau. I'm assuming this is talking about Brandon Lau, so I'll say Lau. Or Zunino and Cruz, or all. So we're talking about the Rays here. I like Nathan Eovaldi, so none, Salvatore. And the reason I like Eovaldi is he's a pretty good all-around pitcher. This is over his past 12 starts with more curveballs. He has a 3.24 skill interactive ERA, 28% strikeout rate, 3% walk rate. Decent, I would say, batted ball data. And the results for Eovaldi have been pretty good in that time too. I think his ERA is 3.88. So personally, I'm not going to be stacking the Rays. You can if you want. I will never say no to a play if your process led you there. Always trust your process over trusting me. I'm not going to be using the Rays today. I think Eovaldi's awesome, and I really do want to get there from a pitching perspective for today. Yeah, 3.54 ERA for Eovaldi in this time. Let's talk to Savon. Best starting pitcher and stacked for single entry. I love Eovaldi for single entry. I think that implied total for the Rays is going to keep people off of him, so I'll take it for sure. As far as stacking goes, I just think because I'm going to Eovaldi, I can allow myself to go with the best stacks. And to me, those are the Braves and the A's. Jerry says, "Good day, Jim." Good day, Jerry. Glad I took the Rays yesterday. Did very well. How did you find out about these Atlanta, Kansas City, and Toronto? Kind of like Kirk for a one-off for Toronto. Again, not as high on Toronto for today because I respect Gil. So I think that I'll personally be a bit lower on them. As far as the other ones, I am very high in Atlanta, very high in Kansas City. I'm definitely on board with those for today. I would rank Atlanta above Kansas City because I like their matchup a bit more with Sean Nolan, and they're a better offense. So give me Atlanta 1. I would go Oakland 2, Kansas City number 3. So Jerry, both those first two stacks are in my top 3 for today. Savon, who's your favorite value play as a batter with home run upside? I like this. I like this question from you, Savon. Thinking about dingers. Dingers are always good. If you're looking for like a super low salary dude, Ryan O'Hearn, I think is batting 6th for the Royals. He is 7th. That's fine. I'll take that. Ryan O'Hearn, he can hit some dingers. $2,100. I think that's awesome. So very in on O'Hearn for today. I think that if you're looking for like a lower salary guy, he grades out pretty well there. Other low salary dinger guys, Tyler Naquin facing Mills. Mills generally does keep the ball on the ground, but again, that has not been as true recently. So I like O'Hearn for like a super low salary guy. Carlos Santana's in the same discussion too. And then Tyler Naquin up there for me. Maybe Mike Moustakas, but not as high on him due to the rough form since his injury. Mateus is on offense, like the Tampa left-handed bats, and a 3-man Padres stack with either Montas or you. What do you think? I think Montas is great. I like you as well. So I'm on board with the pitching options. Talked about Tampa before. As far as San Diego goes, they're facing a bullpen game for the Angels. Jaime Barria will probably be in there at a certain point. The Angels bullpen, not a shutdown team. So yeah, I think the Padres work. I am not opposed to them, and I can approve that one. Jerry says, I like Darvish tonight. Talked about him a bit before, but yeah, again, I think that he's number 3 for me. DJ, how would you stack Oakland and San Diego while using Gibson as your pitcher? I would not use Gibson. Very low strikeout guy, 15% strikeout rate since he moved to the Phillies when he's been throwing more cutters. I would avoid Gibson at all costs. As far as Oakland goes, I want Matt Chapman. Matt Chapman got off to a really slow start this year, but he has been hitting tanks recently. A lot of barrels from Matt Chapman. Starling Marte tends to be pretty good against lefties. Let's get him in there. Let's put Chapman in there. I don't think he'll bat 7th. I'm pretty sure that is old. Their batting order projection for him. So I'll take the under on 7 for the batting order spot for Matt Chapman. Let's pull up the other stuff here for Oakland versus lefties. Yan Gomes is at least in consideration when they're facing lefties, whereas he is not for me against righties. 257 ISO for Yan Gomes versus lefties. So if we assume that he catches for today, I can get there. Matt Olson, he can hit a bomb off anybody. So it's a little bit high salary, but that's okay. Let's go with these two. Olson and Gomes. I think that works. So I think maybe I should probably get Canna in there. A little bit lower salary, but I'd rather have Chapman than Canna. I'd rather have Marte than Canna, I think. Let's check out Marte. 138, Canna at 182. It's probably pretty even, I guess, between Marte and Canna. I'd probably still go Marte. And Olson just good against everyone. So I think this is probably the 4-player stack I'd roll with. If there's no Gomes, I think the Canna works. Let's see here. Josh Harrison injured, $2,900 if he plays. Okay, so Jed, 105 ISO, Harrison, 136. Probably would try to avoid them if I can. But I think that, to me, pretty good Oakland stack there. Julius, top 2 pitchers for tonight. Again, I'm going with Nathan Eovaldi 1, and I will go with Frankie Montas number 2. Just love Montas from a skills perspective. Tough matchup for him, tough matchup for Eovaldi, but I like them both from a talent perspective, so I like those two the most. Kyle, any value pitchers who are usable tonight? Depends on your definition of value, Kyle. If you say 9,000 and lower, I would say that both Montas and Darvish are. If you say below 9,000, it gets really rough really fast. If you were to force me to use someone below $9,000, which you shouldn't do because that seems rude. Very rude to force me to do so. But if you were to force me to do so with one, Vladimir Gutierrez has had some good games recently, facing a really weak Cubs lineup, I would go there, but he will not be my player pool for tonight. I'm sticking with just those top three of Eovaldi, Darvish, and Montas. But Kyle, if you were to force me again, very rude, to force me to pick a value play, again, joking, I would go with Vladimir Gutierrez. Nick, thoughts on Luke Weaver for Arizona? Not on the main slate, so I didn't research him. So I got no idea. Facing the Rangers, I would worry about pitch count for Weaver, given that they have nothing to play for and he's had a lot of injuries. So worry about that. But I didn't research that game because I haven't had time. So sorry about that, Nick. DJ, use Montas tonight? Yes, I think that he is very okay to use. Very on board. Number 2 pitcher for me tonight behind Nathan Eovaldi. Savon, is it smart to stack against Darvish and use secondary stack Oakland? I wouldn't stack against Darvish. I know, again, the results have been really bad recently because whatever reason. I don't know if it's bad luck. I'm not sure if he's hurt because he's been using his slider a bit less. So it is possible that Darvish is not fully healthy just because the slider usage is down, but I'm not totally sure about that. So personally, I'm not going to stack against him. I would advise against that. Let's talk to William. What do you think about the Blue Jays pitcher today? That is Alec Manoa. I think he's good. I don't want to use him because the matchup is really tough. Facing the Yankees, in the 8 starts with more sinkers, Manoa has allowed just a 29% hard hit rate, 35% fly ball rate. He's pitching pretty well, and he's a good pitcher. So I don't want to stack against him. Don't want to use him as a pitcher tonight either because the matchup is tough. Not the biggest strikeout rate in that time either, but I think it's he's good enough where I will be avoiding the Yankees as well. DJ says, skip the Yankees, Orioles, and Braves games due to rain. Let's check out what Kevin Roth says over here on Roto Grinders. He says we should be wary of the Royals and Baltimore game and the Nationals and Braves game. I think that he says to check out the radar before lock. Kevin usually does an update around 5:30. So make sure you check back just this page on Roto Grinders, rotogrinders.com/weather/MLB. Check out what he says at 5:30 because I really have a lot of interest in the Royals and the Braves and would be upset if those were taken out of our ability for tonight. And Jerry also says, I think that Atlanta is going to get rain for tonight. Really hope that doesn't happen, Jerry. Fingers crossed, little rain dance to keep the rain out of Atlanta for today. DJ is asking Toussaint or Nolan, preferably neither. Nolan, just not a guy. I want to stack against Nolan pretty actively, so don't want to use him. Toussaint, he can get strikeouts, but lets up a lot of hard contact. Good matchup, and he's at home. So if you force me, I'd go Toussaint, but I'm not going to be using either personally for tonight. William is asking, can Touki Toussaint get to 5 strikeouts versus the Nats tonight? If it's 5.5, I'm staying away. If it's 4.5, I would be okay going with Toussaint there. Pitch count hasn't been super good recently. Yeah, 46 pitches last time out. So maybe actually, maybe I shouldn't take it. I think it's a stay away if it's, if you're looking for an over here. And if it's like 5.5, I might consider an under on Toussaint. So if it's 5 even, I think it's just a stay away. Salvatore, do you have a stat for players whose best ISOs to left field? So looking for some teams that may be playing in parks that are more advantageous for left-hand or for right-handed batters. I don't have those stats personally. You can look at how often guys pull the ball. You can look at how often they make hard contact. You can look at ISO versus handedness. I don't have that specific number, Salvatore, but check out FanGraphs. They've got pretty much everything else. You can find at least who will pull the ball as a righty if you're looking for stuff like that. Josh says no Mancini for tonight. Okay, so the Orioles facing Mike Minor. I know Mancini's had some soreness recently. Hopefully that clears up soon because he's a really fun player, and I enjoy watching him and having him in DFS lineups. But obviously, got to rest up, especially in a year where Orioles aren't playing for a lot of things. Lineup here for the Orioles. Again, I'm not as high on them because Minor is okay. He's not someone you need to avoid steadfastly. So I think an Orioles stack is at least worth discussing here. So let's check it out. Ryan McKenna. I know he's not done a lot in the majors, but his AAA numbers are pretty fun. So maybe you check out him as like a low salary play. I like Austin Hayes against lefties. I know Cedric Mullins is a lefty, but he's good against lefties too. I think those top three are pretty live. Anthony Santander, I tend to use more against righties than lefties, but hey, he's fun. So I think it's still a good lineup, Josh, despite there being no Mancini. And I think you can talk yourself into a couple guys there, probably more so for one-offs than for stacks. Jerry has a feeling that Boston wakes up tonight. Okay, Boston is facing McClanahan. And again, I think that a concern here, if you are rooting for McClanahan, trying to, justify using McClanahan for tonight, is that Boston has seen him recently, and that could be a concern, especially because McClanahan does tend to struggle with hard contact. There we go. I don't know what I'm doing here. There we go. Now I got McClanahan. McClanahan lets up like a 50% hard hit rate, his most relevant sample. This is over his 8 starts with more curveballs and fewer sliders. Lets up a 50% hard hit rate. Just saw Boston last week. He saw them again at the beginning of August. ERA is very good. The results have been very good, but last week against Boston, did let up 4 runs. He got 8 strikeouts. It wasn't all bad. Ooh, a lot of whiffs from McClanahan there, but they hit a lot of line drives. 50 or 43% hard hit rate there, and a 53% hard hit rate in the other one. I would also note that first Boston game, I'm pretty sure was when all the guys were on the COVID IL. Like I think Xander was out, and I'm pretty sure that Kike was out as well. Still no Xander, but Kike Hernandez is back. So let's see. In that game, there was no Kike Hernandez, so maybe a boost up. I don't think that like a Boston stack is totally out of play for tonight, Jerry. So if you got a feeling that they wake up, I know Savon asked about Boston stacks too. I think that's okay. I can see that being live, especially if we lose some games due to rain. No complaints from me here. Jerry, dinger call. Okay. Jerry's got a dinger call here. Kirk, if that game plays for the Yankees and the Blue Jays, and I think that one's actually okay. Let me double check back over here. Yeah, that one should be okay. So Yankees, good to go. And then Freddie Freeman, Adalberto Mondesi. Freeman is facing a lefty, but as we've seen, I think the last time we talked in depth about Freeman versus a lefty, he hit for the cycle. So Freddie Freeman's still good. I love Mondesi. He's been awesome since he came back. Even in his rehab stint, he was amazing. So thumbs up for me, Jerry. I'm on board. Julian says, good call on DJ Stewart yesterday. So we have Just Dongs Davis. JD Davis stands for Just Dongs, which I think means that we need to find a nickname for DJ Stewart. The one that I came across or came up, I think Dong Jockey, like maybe that's the one we go with for DJ. I'm not sure though. Julius, if you have better options for DJ Stewart, put them in the comments. I would love to see better ones there. DJ, thoughts on Vladimir Gutierrez? Again, if you force me to use someone below $9,000, I would say yes to Gutierrez, but I'm not going to personally. So my thought process for tonight is I'm going to go with just the 3 guys. Go with Montas, go with Darvish, and go with Eovaldi. But if you were to force me to use someone lower, Gutierrez would be that guy. I just don't want to do it personally. Savon is asking if we can do a Dodger stack facing Adam Wainwright. Doesn't let up hard contact. Doesn't let up fly balls. I will pass on that one. DJ's got a whole host of home run calls here. We got Brian Goodwin, Kevin Plawecki, Omar Narvaez, David Bodie, and Edmundo Sosa. Okay, there's DJ's home run calls. DJ, very catcher heavy. If I were to go with a catcher to hit home run, we had a misunderstanding yesterday where DJ thought I didn't like catchers. I just don't like sites that make you use catchers because on certain sites, you don't have to use catchers. So that's why I don't talk about catchers that much. But Salvador Perez, is he in the lineup? Let's hope yes, he is. He never sits, so I don't know why I question that. Pedro Severino can kind of hit lefties sometimes, so maybe we get some Severino. We already got a home run call at Alejandro Kirk. Travis d'Arnaud, DJ. That's a catcher who could go deep for today. I like that one. Tucker Barnhart, not really going there. But I would say Travis d'Arnaud, Salvador Perez, my catcher-specific home run calls for today, just for you, DJ. Savon, Adam Wainwright is a pitcher. Not enough strikeouts for me. Really tough matchup. I'll be avoiding there. Jerry says nickname for DJ Stewart could be Beef Stew. I like it. I don't like that movie. I'm not gonna lie. I know that's like a really bad take, especially for someone who works in baseball. I don't like that movie. It came out when I was like too young, I think, and I didn't get a lot of the humor the first couple times I watched it. So that's why. Maybe I should rewatch it as like an adult, alleged adult. But I think that Beef Stew is a good nickname for DJ Stewart. I'm on board with that, Jerry. I think stamp of approval there. DJ is looking at the Roto Grinders lineup page where it also shows the weather. It looks pretty bad. Yeah, again, it doesn't look great. This is what Kevin had this morning. And again, always trust Kevin over me because Kevin is a natural meteorologist. I'm an idiot who looks at radars. Trust him over me always. As far as the games here, looks like Baltimore hopefully rolling in later on. That might help. Atlanta, it looks like it's a lot of like scattered rain. So hopefully we're okay there. I do want to see what he says at 5:30 to make sure we got the all clear. But at least there's some signs, some hope. There is some hope. We'll see. Savon, how would you stack Baltimore? And Savon also said you helped me out yesterday with that 4-man Baltimore stack. Y'all, they're perfect for me. I like the Baltimore over Kansas City. I kind of like the Royals for today, Savon. I know that's treason given that Austin Hayes, DJ Stewart, a lot of dudes went deep for the Orioles last night. So it's treasonous, Savon, given they were very profitable for us last night. But I like the Royals. If you want me to stack out the Orioles, though, I would say I want to get Mountcastle in there. A lot of power. Hayes has good power versus lefties. Mullins and Santander. I think all the salary flexibility to get to all four of those guys. So to me, give me Mountcastle, Hayes, Mullins, Santander as the Orioles stack. As far as the Royals for today, look, checking out this lineup, we got Mondesi, we got Perez. I would say those are the first two guys you lock in. O'Hearn batting 7th. I will put him number 3 in terms of ranking this team. Hard hit Whit Merrifield is number 4. Whit can get some stolen bases. I know that the hard hit Whit thing is like, it's a very old nickname. Like I think from the first year of the solo shot, I started calling him that. It was like when he first like broke on the scene. He no longer has a very high hard hit rate. So it's an old nickname. Doesn't really apply anymore, but I like the way it sounds. So he's still a hard hit Whit to me. And I think that I will rank in number 4 in terms of stacking the Royals for today. That is all that we have here for today on this FanDuel Live Q&A. Once again, tomorrow we have a full hour-long show. We have the Bucks versus Cowboys preview for betting and DFS starting up at 4 p.m. MLB at 4:30, same schedule for Friday with the snake draft at 4, MLB at 4:30. Make sure you are subscribed to the FanDuel YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter pages. Also, tomorrow we have our first Heat Check fantasy podcast, myself and Brandon Gadula. We're going to break down week 1 from a DFS perspective. That is tomorrow, 10 a.m. on this FanDuel YouTube page, also up on the numberFire daily fantasy podcast feed after that. So make sure you hit up the YouTube page, hit up the numberFire daily fantasy podcast feed. The first episode of Girls Who Bet is tonight with Aaron K. Dolan and Liv Moods. Make sure you check that out as well. I'm excited for that. Should be a fun time over here on the FanDuel YouTube page. A lot of good stuff to make sure you are swinging by each and every day. If you've got more questions for me, I am on Twitter at Jim Sannes, JIMSANNES. Big thank you to Calvin Theobald, our video producer, for running the video side of things here today. Thank you, Cal, as always. And thank you to everyone for tuning in. Good luck to you tonight. We'll talk to you once again tomorrow. This has been the FanDuel Live Q&A.